Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today on the show, we are going to travel to Times Square in New York City and discover a little gem that is hidden away in the basement of an old building there. And we'll talk a little bit about what makes that so special and some of the cool things that are just tucked away down there. Stay tuned. Well, Times Square is such an electrified atmosphere, and the lights and the sounds. It's very overstimulating if you're prone to that sort of thing, and it's there's a lot to see. There's a lot to take in. It's of course a tourist trap, but it's also spectacular and something that everybody needs to see once. It's just a lot of advertisement at things like that, and there's a lot of things going on, a lot of sights to see, and the hustle and bustle of New York. It's pretty interesting. Down in one part of that, off of Broadway, there is a building that is called the Paramount Building, and it has a great history. The Paramount Building actually was built by Paramount Pictures, the film company, and started in 1925, and it was the home of Paramount Pictures offices, and eventually turned into a movie theater, and had films in that play there as well. I went there strictly because I noticed it had a Hard Rock Cafe, and it was lunchtime, and I really didn't know much about the Paramount Building at that time. But it does have quite an amazing history, I came to discover afterwards, and it was a very interesting building to see and to check out. And the Hard Rock Cafe's collection is always so good. If you've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, there is nothing that the Hard Rock Cafes have that doesn't rival what's in there. They have sometimes an even better collection of things, and it's always interesting to see what might be floating around in those, especially the ones in the major U.S. cities like that, or European cities. This I almost completely fluked and would have entirely missed seeing, except for I just had to use the washroom, and it was down in the basement. And when I went downstairs, there were hundreds of guitars on this wall, and I thought that was really interesting. And as I kind of walked along the wall, I noticed that next to that was a fantastic display. So next to this guitar wall was the display that I'm showing you now, which is the 4 suits worn by the Beatles. This would have been in 63, 64, somewhere in there. And they're just down at the basement at this point. And I've heard now that they aren't there anymore, unfortunately. But I'm so happy I did get to see them, because what an artifact, what a find this is. And not a lot of fanfare around it, just kind of there they were. And, what an opportunity to see something so important to the history of rock and roll. These 4 suits really were at the forefront of the changing of the guard from the 50s era to the 60s bands and the British invasion and all that. So to see something so original and unique just tucked away downstairs was pretty important, and I was really happy to have stumbled across it. So you never know what you're going to find as you look through a collection or you see things like that. But just, tons of people were just walking right past and giving it no mind. And I thought, holy, these should be somewhere front and center for people to see. But, there they were. So that was in Times Square. That was a number of years ago now. And as I say, I've heard they've moved this display somewhere else now, and that they've actually renovated downstairs to be more of the restaurant at that point. At this point in time, I should say. So I'm not sure where things are, but that was just a little snippet of a piece of rock and roll history that I was able to stumble across in Times Square, and something that I don't know where they are now, but if anybody does know, let me know in the comments, and keep your eye out for things like this when you're traveling. You never know what you're going to find. Keep on rocking. We'll see you next time.